Welcome to the Gag Is podcast with me, your host, Charlie Shante, where I share the roller coaster of my life, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. After becoming a teen mom at 14 and a widow by the age of 21, it's a journey filled with tears and laughter, reminding you that even in the toughest moments, there's hope. The gag is, life may be unpredictable, but it's always worth living.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Gag Is Pod. I am your girl, Charlie Shante. Thank you for joining me on another episode. And like I always say, if it's a new episode, then it must be Friday. And yeah, if you have not already, please make sure you are subscribing, you are following wherever you listen on your favorite podcasting app. Make sure you go up in that corner. That way, every time a new episode is released, you are one of the first to be notified. And also, make sure you're following us on IG at The Gag Is Pod and the same handle on YouTube as well. All right. So like I always say, grab your drink, grab your snack, whatever it is that you grab when you listen to this, so we can go ahead and jump in and get into this episode. Last year, and I told y'all a couple episodes ago, y'all really enjoyed my back to school episodes. So I said this year, I got to do a couple more episodes because I felt like there was so much stuff that was missed and there's so much to cover. So I'm going to have to make it into a longer series. So I was debating. I was like, should I start before the holiday or should I start after the holiday? But this particular topic, I'm like, I need to start this one before the holiday because by the time the holiday come, it might be a little bit too late. And, I realize that not everyone who listens, child goes to traditional school, meaning they don't start in August or September. Some of them do year-round schooling, which means they start in July. So, I want to make sure I'm encompassing and I'm getting all of my audience. I don't want anybody to feel left out. I don't want anybody to be like, man, this information came to me a little too late. So let me go ahead and give you that information. So one of the things that we always forget about when school starts back is paperwork and kids' health, right? So I got my notes today. So we have to make sure that our kids get physicals, they have shots, sports physicals, in the whole 9 yards. So I have a couple of little bullet points that I'm going to talk about to help us get through this. When I say this, start now, because the longer that you wait to make appointments, the less appointments they're going to have. And you just going to have to take whatever they have, or you're going to get caught up going to an urgent care or one of these places that you can get a school physical or sports physical for $25 and $35. And I 1,000% disagree with that, because only your child's doctor knows your doctor. If you're going to a place like an urgent care or a place that specializes in children's physicals, they don't know your child as a whole. This is like their first time coming in, seeing their child, and they may not know your child's whole medical history. They may not see any trends or anything like that. And if for some reason your child may have need a specialist, or, there was something that their doctor was watching or tracking, it may be missed because they're not going to their doctor for their annual physical and their sports physical. Now, one thing that I do is I start, if I'm going to make a physical for a new face, because he does sports and because he needs an annual physical, I'm going to start in May. And I know you say that's crazy. Well, think about it like this. School typically ends in May or June, and a physical is always good for 12 months. So if I get it done in May, it's going to carry him all the way to the next May. And by May, there's typically not any sports going on. So that physical is going to carry him throughout the year. right? So that makes sense. So if I don't get it done in May, like this year, he had it done in June. So, well, this month. So, so we have that out the way. So I know he's good until next June. And while I was there, I went ahead and got his regular annual physical and his sports physical done. So we can I did kind of like a 2-for-1 when we went. He didn't need any shots, so that was a good thing. The closer it get, the less appointments they gonna have, and the less, like I said, the less flexibility it is going to be. So if you have the capability and the flexibility to, I would recommend you go ahead and make your child's appointment. Some places, like I know they'll let you make it, if your child comes in May, they'll make it a yearly thing. They'll be like, we'll give you a date for next year. And if for some reason it don't work, just give us a call and we can always fix it. So it's better to go ahead and have that scheduled than to be coming up school getting ready to start back and you don't have anything at all for your child, and then they don't get to play sports, or you know they can reject your child in school depending on certain grades if your child does not have all of their immunizations up to date. One thing that I noticed this year on the packet for the physical is they have a piece of paper that you do the regular physical, and then if your child has to go out to see a specialist, there's another paper attached as well. And I'm like, wow, they're really making it easy for you. So when you go to your doctor's office, just make sure you have your paperwork with you. Sometimes like my son's doctor, I like brought the paperwork, but she's like, oh no, she was like, it's that time of year where parents come in. So she's like, we typically make a lot of copies of that for you guys, just so you remember. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Another thing that I want to hit on is if your child takes medication, please, please, please take the time to go and get that taken care of. Newface has asthma, but he's in high school, so he has different rules. There's paperwork for like self-carry, and then there's paperwork for like younger kids for you to keep that on file. The sooner the better. When I used to work at a school, I cannot tell you how many times kids needed medication, but because their parents lacked on the paperwork, the parents would have to come to the school to give the child the medication, or the child just went all day without the medication that they needed, which I don't recommend. That is not safe. That is not cool. So if your child takes medication, please ensure that they have medication. It's not going to expire within that school year. Make sure that you have the correct paperwork for it and different things like that. Oh, my little list went off. Hold on, y'all. Just make sure you have all the paperwork for your school. And I always recommend making a copy or taking a picture to have on your phone. That way you have a copy of, there go y'all yawn. Make sure you have a copy of that. That way, if there's any questions about anything, you have that to fall back and reference on. For children who take medications or who have a special need or something like that, sometimes there's extra paperwork involved. I know with Newface, he has asthma, so not only does he have an inhaler at school, but he also has an asthma action plan that if you do this and it's not working, then we need to do this. And if we do this and this ain't working, this is what you need to do. Make sure you have those type of plans on file, because like I said, working at a school, the last thing we want to do is have to call EMS for your child, because your child ain't got their medicine or whatever the case may be. You want to always try to prevent that. One thing that I'm going to start doing, because Newface is in sports and he always has his bag, it's not a bad idea. And I'm gonna repeat this in another episode as well. When I start talking about prepping your kid to send them back to school, make sure you make a list of the medications that your child takes, how much they take, and how frequently. That way, and put it like in their backpack or on somewhere where it can be accessed in the event that your child it should be on file already in the office. But say for instance, the child has a situation, they're on a field trip or something, and the child you can't get that information from the office, or you got to call somebody to get that information. If it's already on your child's person, then that can get your child in an unfortunate situation. If your child needs help while on a field trip or something, they have that information with them. Now, these is not rules and guidelines. This is just what I do to help get ready for the school year. A lot of times, students kids that play sports, there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be filled out outside the physical, and that they have to do, and sometimes it can be time consuming. Please, parents, make sure you give yourself time. I know with sports, there's a lot of things going on with concussion protocol, with dealing with the heart, cardiovascular, and different stuff like that has to be signed off by the doctor. Parents, please do not wait until the last minute. Some of these places that I have seen I've gone to some of these places and read the signs on the wall. Sometimes paperwork is a 7-day turnaround. And you can't say, well, little Jimmy finna start football tomorrow, I need you to sign off on this paper. It's a 7-day process, because you got to think, these doctors' office, they have other patients. They can't just sit here and go, okay, well, little Jimmy starting football tomorrow, so let me just go pull his medical record, write his little stuff down, because his parents wanted to wait until the last minute to get his paperwork to us. No, give the doctor's office ample time to get the paperwork done. And they'll tell you, sometimes it's 24 hours, sometimes it's 48 hours. Like I said, I've seen it be 7 days at time. But just, be patient with the doctor's office, because your child is not the only child that they see. Be patient and be lenient. I'm not saying wait 2 weeks for paperwork, but I'm also saying you can't give it to them and be like, I'm gonna sit here and wait for you to finish it because I need it tomorrow. No, that's not fair. And also be mindful that most doctors' offices, not all, most do charge to have paperwork filled out that is not physical related. So make sure that you keep that in mind. You're not taken aback. And it's not a lot. I've seen $25. I've seen $15. I've seen $30. I mean, you are taking time away from a physician or a nurse practitioner. So it's just a little compensation for their time. I cannot stress enough, keep a copy. I have so many copies. I built a binder with all of the paperwork, all the back to school stuff. I've built a binder to keep all of that, because I've worked at a school and sometimes paperwork get a little lost sometimes. I ain't even gonna hold you. But as long as you have a copy, you can always give it to the school to prevent it from being lost. So outside of medical, also make sure you're taking time. If you ask your kid, can you see that over there? Or can you see that over there? Make sure that they can see, because I know a big problem with kids is they start school and they cannot see. We only think, I need to take them to the doctor to get a physical. Make sure you are making eye appointments if necessary for your child. Because sometimes you can get glasses and appointments same day, or it may take a week. But sometimes you have to order glasses and stuff, and it can take a little bit longer. I know it can take up to 2 weeks to get glasses, and you don't want your child to have to start school and they can't see anything because they don't have their little glasses. I know I need my little extra eyes, because, baby, I take this off. I can see the camera, but can the camera see me? I can't see nothing. Like, I can't see my playback over here. I can see it, but it's not clear. So make sure you're getting those eye exams in there as well. Last but not least, dental. Let us make sure that we are making dentist appointments for our children as well. Because we want to make sure that they're going back to school with good, healthy teeth, no toothaches or anything like that. They may have binged on junk food this summer. So, you want to make sure you're getting those pearly whites clean. And I know dentist offices can be backed up as well. So you want to make sure you're doing that in due time. I know with New Faces Dentist, when he be at the dentist, they make the next 6 months already. So, so it's like that. And I'm going to roll that in this next portion into the you can't make this up. So in making a dentist appointment, New Face comes to me last week and goes, Mom, like my tooth, I'm getting a tooth. And I'm like, boy, you 15. Like, why is you teething? Like, this is crazy. And he said, I think my wisdom tooth is coming in. And I was like, wow, okay. So he was like, feel it. And I was like, if I put my finger in your mouth and you bite me, like it's finna go up. So I felt it, but he said, I can't. And I felt it. I was like, yeah, there's a tooth coming in. He said, but I can't eat on this side because it hurts so bad. So I said, okay. His dentist is very flexible. So I called the next day. I said, hey, Lorenzo's having a little bit of pain. Can he come in? She's like, yeah, he can come in tomorrow. Great. So we go in and she's like, yeah, looks like the tooth kind of came through and it got stuck. And since it got stuck, the gums tried to grow back over it, which created an abscess. I said, okay. So she's like, he gonna need antibiotics for about 7 days. I was like, all right, perfect. We get that taken care of. She said, however, he gonna have to go see an oral surgeon because the 2 teeth that we didn't even come in for. She said they pushing on his teeth in the front and they're pushing his teeth forward. And I was like, oh my God, oral surgeon. I said, well, he gonna have to go night to get all 4 of these out because he got 1 that's coming through, 2 that's already out pushing on the 2 in front of it, and then 1 that's impacted and it can't come out. So we go to see the oral surgeon, y'all. And I'm just like, I just see dollar signs because I'm like, this finna run me because insurance gonna pay. They're gonna be like, we'll do a little sprinkle. You can do the rest. So I'm like, all right. So they taking the images and she said, I just thought I'll let you know he's going to have 5 teeth taken out. I'm like, 5 teeth? Like, where do you come up with this extra tooth from? Like I'm thinking, like there's the wisdom teeth and then like maybe the one in front of it because the wisdom tooth has pushed it and cracked it. No. She said he has an extra tooth. And I was like, what do you mean an extra tooth? I was like, I've never been told. As many years he's been going to the dentist, I've never been told that he has an extra tooth. She was like, let me pull the image up. She pulls the image up. And voila, right there. It's an extra tooth. And I'm like, OMG. And so I'm looking at it and I was like, well, how come I've never known that there was an extra tooth between those 2 teeth? And they're the 2 teeth in the front. She said, the one that they do is like a panoramic or something. And so it's kind of almost similar to a CT. She said, you want to know why you never seen it? She said, because on this image, it looks like that tooth is between 2 teeth. She said, when actuality, that's not true. She said, the tooth is under the tongue. And I was like, I know you lying. How do you get a tooth under your tongue? So LJ chimes in and goes, oh yeah. He said, I feel that bump all the time. And I just thought it was just like a gum growth or something. It's a whole ass tooth. So they're doing on a chart. And so it's tooth 71. And I said, 71? Wow, tooth 71? Like that is crazy. She said, yeah, we just take whatever the tooth is and add 50 to it. Girl, what? What are you talking about? So now she's like, yeah, so he's going to have his 4 wisdom teeth and this extra tooth pulled out. And then by the way, did you know that he has a tongue tie? Ma'am, don't tell me nothing else, okay? Because this is a full-term baby right here. This boy is 39 weeks and 4 days. He was a full-term baby. So, like, what are you talking about, tongue-tied? Like, he was a full-term baby, but why does he have all these preemie problems? Like, I don't get it. So then she was like, yeah, we're going to come up with his treatment plan so we can get this scheduled. And, we have this process where the day of, we draw blood and then we spin it down and then we take the clotting agents out and we put it back in the mouth to help for healing faster. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, well, we gonna see, how this gonna go. And so he's gonna get sedation. He gotta go night night. I said, cause baby can't take a paper cut. So he gotta go night night. So we sitting down and we looking at the treatment plan. I'm like, I look down, I'm like, he got to get all of them out like at one time. She's like, yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. So I'm looking, I was like, all right, cool. We take care of it. And then I'm like, I'm looking at and I said, is this optional or is this something you have to get? She said, no, it's optional. It's just what the doctor recommend. It helps, it heal faster because instead of waiting for the body to create a blood clot, we take the blood and create a clot for it. Helps with dry socket, whatever. I said, no, we're going to take that off. I said, cause ain't no school right now. He could be at home where I can monitor him. He can keep his mouth clean and whatever. I said, if it was during the school year, I'd be like, we'll do it, help him heal fast, so he don't miss school or whatever like that. He got the summer ahead of him. He not doing nothing anyway. Well, he gonna have to miss a little bit of swim. I'm not finna pay $301 for y'all to take some blood and, spin it on down and do like some putty with it and then pack his mouth with it so it'll heal better. He better take them stitches in that mouthwash and go somewhere. $300 for them to take your blood in advance. No, let your body do what it need to do. Like, and then she's like, yeah, he needs to be eating food by the second day, cause he needs to work the muscles in his jaw. I was like, he's like, yes, I can eat. Give me some chicken nuggets. Hold on, little grasshopper, you trying to go crazy and eat food. He don't understand. He finna be El Miserable. No. My poor baby. I don't. No. All right, so we have come to the end of the road here. I always forget. I always forget a song lyric of the week. And I always forget one, so I be having to get one on the spot. So since I had a new face, you can't make this up story, I'm going to put one of his favorite songs as the song lyric of the week. So our song lyric of the week for this week is going to be Sticky by Tyler, the Creator, and his friends. So if you are not, please make sure you are following us on your favorite platform. Make sure that you are hitting the subscribe button so that when a new episode is released, you are getting that new episode. Please make sure you are following us on IG. Make sure you're following us on YouTube. And when you're following us, please make sure you are engaging with us as well. I say us like there's more than one person, but us is in me and the Gag is Pod. So I guess there's two of us. So this is the Gag is Pod. I am your girl, Charlie Shante. Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning into the Gag Is podcast. I hope you're enjoying my journey as much as I am enjoying sharing it with you. Before we wrap up, I have a small request. If you found inspiration in my stories or my guest stories, don't forget to share this podcast with your friends and family. Together, we can spread the message of resilience and hope. And if you have a moment, please take a second to rate and review the show on your podcast app. 5 stars, please. Your feedback helps me reach even more listeners who might need a dose of encouragement. Remember, the gag is Life may be unpredictable, but it's always worth living. So until next week, bye guys.